And welcome back to the Taran Light Railway build. I've gone for episode 12.5 in case anyone is superstitious. So the next episode will be 14. So what have I been up to? So this last weekend has been the super hot weekend. So I hid indoors most of the time building these benches, sack barrow, crates and painting the figures. Also finishing the build of 3 wagons and painting those. The sack barrow, crates and benches are coach and wagon works kits. So when the temperature cooled down, I was able to run this prior Loco Works kit diesel again, but this time with 3 slate wagons from philsharples.com, PS models. And also a shout out to David Clavey models for the people so far in the video. They are models by him. I think they're excellent detail and good sizing. Next up for painting is this set of slate workers by Motley Miniatures. The thing about Motley Miniatures is that they come with detachable heads. So the first job was to join those before painting. I couldn't find the recommended glue anywhere, so I decided to drill into the head and the neck area on the body and insert a matchstick or half a matchstick in between the two with some Yoo-hoo glue. I'm not finding much luck with super glue these days, probably because I buy the cheap stuff. Anyway, and then I thought I could be even more clever, and I think this is quite clever. I thought I'd use some of these glue strips you can buy, such as Sugaroo or Fix-Its. I've never tried them, and thought it would be a good time to. However, when I was shopping on your favourite online retailer, I came across the fact you could also buy packs of this stuff to make yourself. So I bought this pack by ThermoWorks White Morph. Other makes were also available. It's recommended that you don't use your cookware and you use something glass or tin to cook the material in, and also either tin or wood to mix it with. So I cut down a drinks can and poured in some boiling water and then dropped in my granules and waited till it melted. You can always add in a bit more hot water and then mix the material up until it goes clear, like this. Once it's clear, you can pull it out and then you can usually touch it straight away and mould it into the shape you require. And then I pulled out a thin strip, and I'm sorry I didn't manage to record that process, but I gave each of the slate workers a scarf. This one's just got a small neckerchief. And then for variety, I decided to give the other 2 slate workers thicker scarves. This chap's just got one facing the front, the tail ends of it, and this one's got his scarf wrapped right round his neck with the tail ends down the back out of the way. And then this is scrap, and that can go back in the bag and be remelted next time. The next thing I did was create this siding shed out of tiny doll's house bricks. I think it's probably Das clay made, so I've had to waterproof it. I wanted to give it that weathered old paint look, and it will have a door and window frame. So I've had a delivery from D-Rails, 48 hours as always. Quite impressed they've started to use newspaper, which of course will be way more biodegradable than any other kind of packaging. So I bought some more SL910 joiners, which are for 45mm track, but are a lot less fiddly than the standard ones. Unwrap that in a second. A little complimentary gift from D-Rails. So what I've got here is 4 curves, 2 ST605s and 2 ST607s. So in total I ordered 8 ST605s for my radius 1 curves and 2 ST607s to go with the points. So I bought a new left-hand point. I've already got a right-hand point, so later on you will see that I can do a passing loop. Hi, so I know I've been a bit slacking in the garden railway scene. I've been too busy with work, feeling a bit overwhelmed in the weekends to try and work out the complexities of this. So I decided to extend the track, and this is the new plan. It says promptly dropping it on the floor. So this top left most of a loop is what we were going to have as one loop, and then we are now going to extend the viaduct and another piece across like this, and then we go over to this loop. So anyway, I already had the straights, because when I bought that box of second-hand straights last year, I had plenty spare, so that's that. And you've just seen me unpacking some curves and a point. So I've now got all I need, and I think what I'm going to do is go and join it all up in the garden and then work out what needs to be done still. So let's do that, and possibly start digging in to the garden where some areas need to be lowered. So I've got a weekend free that I can actually work on this, so let's do it. So it's now the 2nd of August 2025, and I thought I'd come out and start putting the track down. And within 6 feet of me are these little fluffy bits of candy floss on sticks, otherwise known as long-tailed tits. There were half a dozen that kept flitting from the tree and back onto the feeders, so they distracted me for a little while. Then I put all the track out on the lawn and then spent most of the day joining it together. I need to cut this piece of track here to fit. Eventually there'll be a point here though with a siding with that piece of rail that I'm pointing out. Before joining the track up and having to cut some track to do that, I decided to do a test run to find out how the rest of the track was sitting. It highlights the areas that I need to work on the track. So a couple of minor issues where the track joins are, but no problem at all with it going up the embankment, so the slope's okay. Slightly nervous of it falling off there, obviously. As you can see, I've installed a passing loop here. So it's interesting, the places where it's got a problem are the 32mm joiners, the 45mm joiners are fine. So let me give you a quick tour before we finish the loop. So this is the bit you've seen on several episodes, but now actually with the track loosely laid. The viaduct, which I'll talk about in a second. Then we come to the passing loop. And then the return track. My next job is going to be to cut a piece to go right there. So as I've pointed out in previous videos, there's quite a camber here sloping down to the left. So my job later and tomorrow, if the weather stays kind, is going to be to, well, I'm going to sink the track into the lawn because I'm not sure that's all going to become a big flower bed. And then I can deal with the levels as well and flatten it out a bit. So before I put down ballast or anything, I'm going to sink the track in, so hopefully I can mow across it. Currently the ground is rock hard though, so whether that's actually achievable in the next 2 days is anybody's guess. And then obviously I've got to still deal with the viaduct. I'm going to build up the embankment round under the curve to the left of the red Acer, I think, because that will make it a lot easier. Yeah, so where that piece of white guttering is, that is going to be part probably of what I build for the viaduct, but hidden. I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to fill it with polystyrene that I've got in the shed, which will be hidden completely under ballast. It's just that if I fill the whole guttering with gravel or ballast, it's going to probably be too heavy and bend, so that will make that lighter, but with enough ballast to give it enough substance. Then that will be on columns of bricks, all covered with the slate effect boxes from Aldi, which I will chop up accordingly. Said containers from Aldi ready to form part of the viaduct. I will also have to move, I think, the statue who was going to look rather odd by a railway, and the Japanese pagoda, which I think would look like an odd signal box, so they can move elsewhere. So, having joined up all the track, I decided to do another test run to see where the sticking points were left. I had fixed a couple. On the first run, it stopped 3 times on this curve, so the fact it only stopped once this time is a bonus, and this track's all going to be moved when it's lowered anyway, so no point worrying right now. And having made it back to this start, let's now test the passing loop. Well, that appears to have worked okay as well, so jolly good. Testing over, let's look at the overall layout. You may notice that the right hand, what was a straight, is now more curved. I don't know what I did with my any rails. I thought I'd got the connections right, but I appeared to be a curve short. However, as the straights are all flexi track, then it's really easy to just shape it to fit the requirements, and it's probably better if it's not all symmetrical. So thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will look forward to seeing you on the next one. Cheers now.